Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for having the time to come and spend with us, because we are going to have a great show. As usual, we need to have great shows going forward. You know why? We need to have great shows going forward because the time is near. The time is near that things are going to change. The time is near that we need to get things going. Folks, it is that time. It is that serious time. And guess what? We're doing it. This morning I went out. First thing I got up this morning is after doing my workout. There was a Beto O'Rourke. Training, and I decided, you know what? You can never be trained too much to do what you have to do to win this battle. So what I did is I went out there and I took some new training, phone banking, block walking, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how much of that personally I'm going to be able to do straight up in the beginning, but I tell you one thing, folks, everybody who wants to see change, progressive change, they have to get involved. Why do we need to get involved? Because, folks, you can see what's going on in Washington. You can see that the narrative, you can see how Trump continues to control the media. He continues to control how the narrative is going to be defined. He continues to declare how how they're going to cover all these issues. How are they going to cover how they're going to cover him? So the only way for us to move forward is for us to be the ones in control. And that's what I tell folks all of the times. I saw a message, I don't remember from who, just a few minutes ago, that says, hey, don't worry about what's going on in Washington. Don't worry about the distractions. Continue to do what you can do. Continue to control what you can control. Continue to perform how you can perform. If you're just joining us, folks, please go ahead and share this content. Please go ahead and share this show on your site, on your wall, on your Twitter, on your Tumblr. Share it everywhere. As I've mentioned several times before to all my folks here, is that unless we get these things moving early and quickly, the throttling networks at Facebook is going to start saying, well, you know what, this is a progressive show, and you know what that means. You know the kind of treatment progressive shows get, not only on the right side, but even on the side that is supposed to be considered the left side. So anyhow, if you're just joining us, folks, please go ahead and share this program immediately. Share on your Twitter, Tumblr, share on your Facebook, share everywhere. That is how we are going to make a difference. I promise you, you do your part, we do our part, and we win. That is how it happens. You do our part. Good afternoon, Kathleen. Good afternoon, Matthew Tiemann. Good afternoon, Michael Newton. Vicente Gil, mi compatriota, mi cuñado. ¿Cómo estás, hermano? And let's see who else we have here. Michael Rudnin, our resident researcher, and keep on doing that good work, Michael. Now, again, if you're just joining us, share. I mean, we want folks to see it live, but remember, we are also on iTunes, so you can go to iTunes and subscribe to Politics Done Right. You'll get it both live and podcast on iTunes. We're on TuneIn. We're on Google.fm, Player.fm. We're on every single podcast network that there is of consequence in this country. And again, of course, Facebook Live. But folks, what we need you to do is go ahead and share immediately so that we can get this stuff going. But anyhow, what we're going to talk about today, forget Washington circus. We must sharpen. Actually, you know what? Let me see. Yeah, that's the title. Forget Washington circus. We must sharpen our for the people narrative. I repeat, we must sharpen the for the people narrative. Right now, that's not what you're getting. Right now, what we're doing is all the distractions that you see. You see today's story? Today, everybody, let me tell you, I was at a Beto O'Rourke training at about 9:30 this morning, and I think it was about 10:30. I pulled out my phone. I kept on getting these alerts, and the alert said Rosenstein may be fired. It didn't say he was fired. It didn't say any of that. It said Rosenstein may be fired. And I started to say, that doesn't make any sense. Why is that happening today? Why is that? Then I remember, oh my God, there's another woman that came out of the woodwork that said, oh, maybe Kavanaugh is some sort of a pervert, right? I mean, look, I had a discussion, a long discussion on my wall yesterday with a person who decided, with a friend. Actually, she's a friend, but she's a right-wing friend. And she's all in for Kavanaugh. And she just, I left a message saying, which Republican woman can really be supporting these folks? And she came in defense of Republican women who were supporting it. And, I was honest with her. I said, yeah, there's a whole lot of politics going on with Kavanaugh. It's politics that I support because I don't want Kavanaugh as a Supreme Court justice. I'm honest about it. There are a lot of people that want to say, oh, well, because he's a pervert. Look, let me tell you. Kavanaugh is probably just fine. He's probably a chauvinist like a whole lot of those powerful Washington guys. But altogether, he's probably no different than many. But the fact of the matter is progressives should not want him, and they should do everything that is necessary to keep him out of office or to keep him off the Supreme Court. I'm not gonna joke about that, and I'm not gonna try to say, oh, the reason he's not supposed to be there is because he's a pseudomasochist or whatever it is that he is. I just don't want him there. Progressives must not want him there. Period. But anyhow, so what happens today? What happens today? Forget the Washington circus. We must sharpen our for the people narrative. Subtitle of the show today. The story is neither Mueller, Rosenstein, or Russia in this midterm 2018 election. It is about Medicare for all, criminal justice, Social Security, and other real issues. Let's not get distracted by what Trump is doing right now. What we have to work about is those folks that you just see behind me there. We the people. Those are the people that we're supposed to be concerned about. All that crap that's occurring in Washington right now, that's what it is. It's something there to distract you. So that, look here, whatever it is that happens out there, how is it going to help that person who's struggling to pay that kid's tuition? How is that going to help anything else? Whether we talk about Russia, Rosenstein, or Mueller, or anything. None of that has an effect on people's immediate life. That's why a lot of people are so pissed off. Why shouldn't they be pissed off? Everybody's talking stuff that has nothing to do with them. Everybody is talking about things that have nothing to do with them. Of course they're pissed off. Of course. They want people to start talking about things that matter to them. But we're not seeing that. We're not seeing people talk about things that matter to the average American citizen at all. And that is what we have to work on, folks. That's what we have to work on. Anyhow, here is the show for today. Donald Trump knows exactly what he is doing, and the mainstream media is falling for it. This week in Washington was all about Supreme Court justice. Every conservative wants. Every conservative wants Kavanaugh, man. We want Kavanaugh. We want Kavanaugh. Unfortunately, he has attenuated much of the coverage about Brett Kavanaugh's, even as that scandal escalates with more women coming out of the shadows. And let me be frank, because I want folks to know something here. A lot of times what you find out is that, we do things, we try to smear somebody not to get them there. I have no problems repeating what the Republicans did to Democrats in this during the last time. Okay, I have no problems. I think, in fact, it is essential that reciprocity takes place. We have to remember what was done with, I don't remember the name of the Supreme Court justice that Obama nominated, the one that went nowhere. I think it is imperative that there's payback there. There has to be payback. And when I say payback, I'm talking about it's not about revenge. It's about you don't allow those things to go unanswered. Otherwise, they continue to happen. So right now we don't, we can take no, we take no negativity from these guys when they complain about the reactions that most that we currently have with regards to Kavanaugh. None at all will we take. But here's where we go. Unfortunately, he has attenuated. President has attenuated much of the coverage about Brett Kavanaugh, even as that scandal escalates. It is up to progressives to keep their eyes focused on the light at the end of the tunnel, that which is necessary for the poor and middle class. As the media hyperventilate, we tell Americans what we will do for them. And we've been talking about that for a long time. Hey, the phones, I don't see the phones up. What's going on here? That's interesting. The phones are supposed to be up, but I don't see the phones up. Let's see what's going on here. They may be up. They just may not be showing that they're up. Anyhow, folks, continuing. But before I go to the blog of the week, we have a little something from the news feed. And this has to do with, guess what? Healthcare. Folks, the telephone number is 646-716-5812. Again, that telephone number is 646-716-5812. If you're just joining us, please remember to go ahead and share this on your wall, share this on your page, share this on your Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, Instagram, everywhere. I want to ask somebody to give us a call. I want to, for some reason, I don't see the wait-in signal here on our telephone system that comes from Blog Talk Radio. So if somebody gives us a call, one of you in the room, give us a call just to see if we can see your calls come in. I just try to get it going again, and I don't see it there, but I want to see if I can see when you guys call in. So somebody call 646-716-5812. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, here's a news feed before we go to the blog of the week. ProtectOurCare.org says, and this is today in healthcare sabotage. Here we go. In its latest act of healthcare sabotage and in support of its cruel immigration policy, HHS Secretary Assar is shifting nearly $500 million away from medical research, HIV/AIDS treatment, and Affordable Care Act implementation toward detention of migrant children. Leslie Dodge, chair of Protect Our Care, released the following statement in response. Oh my God. $500 million transferred. That is crazy. Anyhow, this is more than just healthcare sabotage. This is healthcare sabotage committed for the purpose of keeping children and families apart. It is shameful and outright wrong. Assad is only the latest Republican to play a dangerous game with the individuals who need health care the most. How do you do that? Please tell me. How do you do that? How do you do that? I have no idea. Anyway, folks, if there's somebody that can give a call, or if you gave a call already, let me know in the feed, because for some reason I don't see something that needs to show up on the screen that says we're connected. So let's go ahead and do that for me if you can. Let me go ahead and refresh the page as well. Let's see if something else shows up or not. But anyhow, folks, do you know what time it is? Okay, it is showing up right now, and we are accepting calls. So you can give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. But you know something? Guess what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, folks, this blog post was, we posted it to the front page of the Daily Kos yesterday. And the title of it is, Let's Sharpen and Embolden the Progressive Narrative and the Counter Narrative Too. And, I go in several directions with this blog post, but the main idea about this is that we have to tell people what we're going to do for them. But first, we have to be honest, not only with our own people, but we have to be honest with everybody. Folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to go ahead and share this on your page, share this on your Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and everywhere else. Anyhow, here it goes. Politics is a dirty sport. The old saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, rings true in the political realm. And today's politics are indeed a gunfight. Sad to say, but it's a gunfight. Look at the Kavanaugh's case. Look at the guy who was the person for Obama, the Supreme Court, that didn't get a hearing. Remember that? But anyhow, civility is essential, but when it's lost, it cannot be recovered by living up to Michelle Obama's admirable motto, when they go low, we go high. I want to repeat that. That's important. Because those of you who know my methodology, it is always about civility, but you have to know when civility needs an edge. And it goes as follows. Civility is essential, but when it's lost, it cannot be recovered by living up to Michelle Obama's admirable motto. When they go low, we go high. Too many Americans are in dire straits, and they are looking for someone they believe will fight for them rather than take the high road. Don't want you to take that the wrong way. Many people balk when some say Donald Trump won the Electoral College because of the white working class economic anxiety. After reading Mehdi Hasan's piece titled Time to Kill the Zombie Argument, another study shows Trump won because of racial anxieties, not economic distress. It was clear to me that even those in the liberal intelligentsia do not get it. I want to repeat that because this is important. And to my liberal and my progressive viewers and listeners, this one is going to rub you a bit wrong, but I need you to follow me through the entire narrative. It is imperative that you follow through the entire narrative, because what happens here is, we hurt ourselves by not looking at this. Folks, if you're just joining us, please share. Here's what I said. Many people balk. There's an article written by Mehdi Hasan, and in effect, the article was saying, stop talking about the economic angst of white folks in Appalachia or all those white folks that voted for Donald Trump. Stop it. They were just racist. No, that's not the way to look at it. Whether some are racist or whether all are racist or some maybe, I don't really give a darn. I really don't care if people are racist or not when it comes to politics. I am not trying to be anybody's friends. I'm not trying to be anybody's lovers. I'm trying to be folks' allies to get a cause. Too many people want to be friends and want to be all of this before looking at what's going to make the country better. I can't solve in one day or in one election cycles people's prejudices. I'm sorry, I can't do that. What I can do is look for commonalities so that we come to the right conclusion, elect the right people that's going to be good for both they and myself and others and the people I care for. That is what's important. So I'm going to read that paragraph, and then I'm going to go into what Hasan said. He said, many people balk when some say Donald Trump won the Electoral College because of the white working class economic anxiety. After reading Mehdi Hasan's piece titled Time to Kill the Zombie Argument, another study shows Trump won because of racial anxiety, not economic distress. It was clear to me, it was very clear to me, that even those in the so-called liberal intelligentsia do not get it. And when they don't get it, and they have all these other followers, hi Bruce, hi Bo Campbell, and they have all these other followers, what it does is it corrupts our analyses. And if our analysis is corrupt, we do not make the appropriate decisions to win. And the reality is we have not been winning, and that's why we don't own the majority of state legislatures, the majority of governorships, the House, the presidency, or the Senate. You know what they said, what is it again? Insanity is trying to do the same thing the same way over and over again and getting a different and expecting a different result. We got to stop that. But anyhow, this is what the Hasan piece said. It said the following. The thesis is as follows. Working class voters, especially in key Rust Belt swing states, rose up in opposition to the party in the White House to punish them for the outsourcing of their jobs and stagnation of their wages. These left behind voters threw their weight behind a populist blue-collar billionaire who rallied against free trade and globalization. Everyone from Fox News host Jesse Waters to Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders has pushed this whole economic anxiety stick, but it's a complete and utter myth. As I pointed out in April 2017, referencing both pre-election surveys and exit poll data, the election of Trump had much less to do with economic anxiety or distress and much more to do with cultural anxiety and racial resentment. Anyone who bothers to examine the empirical evidence, or for that matter, listens to Trump slamming black athletes as son of a bitches or Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas in front of cheering crowds, is well aware of the source of his appeal. Stop. Hassan goes on to cite several studies to make the case that, in fact, cultural issues were more crucial for the Trump voter than economic angst. There is no need to dispute the studies' results, but how said results are interpreted is extremely important to our country's future. Many of these issues are not mutually exclusive. That somebody is a racist doesn't mean that the economic condition that they're living in today is not the catalyst to act on that racism. And Trump, being Trump, knew how to push those buttons. Again, the statement that I constantly tell people, right, is as follows. There is no need to dispute these studies because I'm a scientist, I believe in science. Those studies are correct. But how you interpret the results of those studies going forward and how you mitigate what it means, which should be these issues are not mutually exclusive, is what we need to concentrate on. Hassan goes, anyway, the constant harping about Trump voters are so racist relative to the population at large should give many pause, especially progressive people of color. Let me tell you what I mean by that, and I'm going to then get back into my narrative. And it goes as follows, people. You know, we as liberals, we as progressives, we like to, we are so enlightened. We don't have the racial problems that the right has. We don't BS. The racial problems go across the board in this country, whether you're liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise. Don't fool yourself. I go to very liberal organization conferences throughout the year, all through the country. And I can tell you firsthand, as a black, Latino, Caribbean dude, the amount of discrimination that I feel in the room, that I experience in the room, when I go as a radio host as well, in the room, is no different than when I went and did radio shows at Tea Party events. In fact, Tea Party events, they wanted to prove to me that they weren't racist, so I got treatment like no other. Of course, I know a lot of it was fake, but I got great treatment. I interviewed Daniel Boone's descendants and all these guys. You can go to egbertowillies.com, search for Daniel Boone, and you can see some of those interviews. But here's the deal. You know, none of that concerns me, right? I don't care about any of that. But what happens, the reason I have to talk about it is because a lot of people make that a grounding with which they're going to do their politics. And in doing so, they make severe mistakes in how to deal with people. Anyhow, when I tell many people I love the South, they ask why. My answer is because in the South, I always know where I stand. The usual reply is that it is racist down here while the bus rats in Boston are conveniently forgotten, right? Whoa, forgot about those bus rats when they were trying to integrate those schools? I thought up north things were different, man. I don't remember too many skulls being cracked when they were integrating schools out here in the South. But I saw skulls being cracked up in the north. What I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to create the gradation of racists in the north versus racists in the south. What I'm trying to say is let's understand that this is a problem of people. This is a people problem that will only be solved by people. But in the interim, you don't try to solve it by anyway, let me continue with this and then we'll continue with that. My answer to them is always the same. How different is it up north, really? I have written a series of pieces on the Trump effect, which does not seem to differentiate between regions. It does not. We have all these Trump effect things that I catalog occurring in California, Texas, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Oregon, Washington. They occur all over the country. The Trump effect is healthy and well all over the country. A few weeks ago, I wrote the following in a piece titled, "If this former homophobe can change, so can a racist Trumpist or Trumpster." And here's what I said. Progressives should not cast too many stones at Trumpists. As a black Latino Caribbean man who attends many progressive conferences, I have seen that progressives' behavior, while often more high-minded, leaves a lot to be desired. Many people of color are disregarded in these spaces as well. While I am not a fan of safe spaces at all, the fact that even at Netroots Nation, the preeminent progressive political conference, people talk about safe spaces for people of color should add some humility to our stances and false indignation. I wrote about one of these experiences in a piece titled, "Reaction by Some Liberals at Netroots Nations to Black Lives Matter Disappointing." That details how white progressives can forget what the fight for racial and criminal justice looks like. And of course, this does not include other dynamics, including American Latinos, foreign-born Latinos, black Americans, and foreign-born black people, which add yet another dimension. I won't go into that right now because there's a whole lot of complex dimensions between these minorities, meaning the foreign-born ones and the American-born ones. Whole lot of dynamics in there. Contrary to popular belief, a large percentage of Trumpists and right-wingers are reachable. It is all about engaging them and getting down to their level. Some progressives are unwilling to do that work, and that is fine. However, discouraging and disparaging this type of engagement because of misinterpreted research means a huge opportunity missed, especially now. I engage everybody. I talk to everybody. You will see I have friends that are Trumpists. I have friends that are anarchists. I have friends that are socialists. I have friends that are communists. I have friends like me that are democratic socialists. I have friends that are just straight out establishment Democrats. Friends everywhere, different viewpoints. But I can tell you one thing with all them people, with all those people, I guarantee you at least 85%. At least 85% of all beliefs are encapsulated when I put all these folks together. Bar none. I can tell you that. At least 85% of values are right there. I'll explain to you why that isn't really effectuated in real life and why we have people at others' throats in a little bit. But anyhow, progressives are not unlike the population at large. All of us have our prejudices and biases that reflect the country as a whole. What makes most of us different is the ability to see this as a problem and to work assertively to solve it. Our intent must always be to work on ourselves and on others to modify our recessive demons. And we all have recessive demons, okay? All of us have recessive demons. Mine used to be homophobia, sexism. I can say without a doubt I've extricated all of that, not only intellectually, but actually now from the heart, which means it doesn't appear at all. You know, it is the delta. For those who know DEFIQ, for the delta goes to zero till it disappears, or pretty much called disappearing. Attempting to sweep these under the rug to give us a certain superiority, meaning liberals a certain superiority, and license to disparage Trumpers is nothing more than a scab hiding a deadly infection. Our movement is suffering because many are seeing the deception and either leaving or living a political apathetic life. For too long, our narrative has been too measured. We try to straddle the fence between the plutocracy and all of the working class, but always biased towards the plutocracy. If you want to know what lost Democrats a lot of elections, concentrate less on racism, because racism is across the board. All right? I am no no bleeding heart crazy who doesn't understand that. I can walk into a room full of progressives and I can tell you I would feel the same kind of racism I feel walking into the First Baptist Church of Texas. So please, don't humor me. We as progressives, and I want to repeat that line again, for too long, our narrative has been too measured. We try to straddle the fence between the plutocracy and all of the working class, but always biased towards the plutocracy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to finish reading the blog, but I want to give a soliloquy later on about why it is that the other side knows how to use racism much more than we know how to try to avoid racism for an ulterior economic reason. But anyhow, that is one of the reasons we could not even get a public option in the Affordable Care Act. So again, we try to straddle the fence between the plutocracy and all of the working class, but always biased towards the plutocracy, and that is why we couldn't even get a public option in the Affordable Care Act. We wanted single-payer Medicare for all. We wanted that because from a mathematical standpoint, I don't even have to argue with you. I just have to do the math. From a mathematical standpoint, single-payer Medicare for all is absolutely more efficient by the definition of efficiency. More efficient than the bastardized system of insurance companies taking a cut and everybody else taking a cut before the first medical bill is paid. That's a fact. Anybody wants to discuss that on the numbers, let's do it. Anyhow, we have always allowed the right to set the narrative instead of leading the charge. We are always defending the attacks. You know why you're defending the attacks? Because you're not proposing something that somebody is out there ready to defend for you. Even the Affordable Care Act, which I supported wholeheartedly, I fought for. I know I was fighting for a damaged product that that folks could put a whole bunch of holes into. If we had simply done it right, Republicans would not have had a chance to try to put holes in it. They would not have been able to cut it with a million slices like Donald Trump is doing it right now. They would have written the law so that the mandate could not have been made, that Trump could not do what he's doing with the mandate. They would have written it in such a manner that Trump could not create policies that last 364 days so that they can get around all the rules of that every insurance company has to follow. So you know what Trump is doing? Trump has said, I can't, without a filibuster-proof Senate, I can't get rid of Obamacare, but I can sure cripple it. And you know how I'll cripple it? I'll allow the sale of cheap insurance, which Obamacare forbid. But they still created a law within Obamacare that says, but you know, for temporary 3-month policies, you can go ahead and sell the cheap stuff, but the person eventually has to go to the real stuff. But they didn't put any laws in there that says it cannot be more than 3 months or it cannot be more than 2 months. So what did Trump and his cabal do? Okay, I'll get around Obamacare. Every year you're 1 day uninsured, but for 354 days, you can get the cheap stuff. Now the law says you can only do it for, I think it's 3 years or something like that. Let's see how they get around that. They will. If in 2018, November 6th, you don't put O'Rourke and all the other senators in there that are going to at least save it and work towards Medicare for all. For too long, the narrative has been too measured, like I said, for too long. We've always allowed the right to set the narrative instead of leading the charge. We are always defending the attacks. America did not become racist in 2016, okay? Trump just became a megaphone that amplified the existing racism. I find it ironic that when President Obama, the black man, was elected twice in this racist society, or rather, let me read that right. I find it ironic that President Obama, the black man, was elected twice in this racist society, while Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, yet could not garner the electoral college. Last I know, Hillary Clinton wasn't black. So, continuing. I think I better say that whole line because it ties into the other one. I find it ironic that President Obama, the black man, was elected twice in this racist society while Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, yet could not garner the electoral college votes as her predecessor did. I must remind Hassan, the guy who wrote that piece that I was talking about, this is a very important piece he wrote because his piece was correct. A lot of the people ran to Trump because Trump used white supremacy, Trump used white nationalism, Trump used racism, Trump used all those factors for a population that is already saying, why is it that I can't make it? As opposed to, well, I'm going to take that after. I want to read this one first because I want to talk about that in my soliloquy. So I must remind Hassan of the following incident according to Salon.com. When I read this back during the election time, it blew my mind. And I repeat it over and over again every chance I get, just to show people the dynamics of humanity and to show people how people think and to show people how a lot of times a vote can be disjointed from either one's personal economy, which is generally stupid, or could be disjointed from one's personal cultural experience or beliefs. Here's the deal. And this is what Sean Quinn said. Sean Quinn of the polling site 538, respected for his obsessiveness and eerie prescience, recently posted a hair-raising story about a pair of Barack Obama supporters. Listen to this keenly. And I'm going to use a bad word, and I'm not going to try to cater the bad word because I want to use it in the context that it was given. Quinn seems ready to verify its source, but only after the election. At any rate, it goes like this. A man canvassing for Obama in Western Pennsylvania asks a housewife which candidate she intends to vote for. She yells to her husband. I don't know why she had to ask the husband, but she yelled to her husband to find out. Hey, honey, who are we supporting in this election? From the interior of the house, he calls back. Tell them we are voting for the nigger. At which point, the housewife turns to the canvasser and calmly repeats her husband's declaration. We are voting for the nigger. Now, people would, we have a whole lot of folks going, oh my God, did she say that? Oh my. For me, that's nothing, right? Let me tell you how I see that. I want to tell you how I see that. I look at that and I say, that proved the power of President Obama's narrative back in 2008 and 2012. I told many people before originally I was a Hillary Clinton supporter. I was signed up for her campaign. And after, I think it was March that I went on, I think it was after the South Carolina debacle that I joined the Obama campaign. I don't remember exactly the dates, but I remember it was something Bill Clinton said disparagingly about Obama. I said, wait a minute, he was supposed to be. Anyway, so I went ahead and I then joined the Obama campaign, but I joined it knowing that there's a good chance Obama could win at that point, because at that point I realized, oh my God, this guy could actually win. I supported his values before because remember he was talking big about healthcare and all of that. I supported that. So then I said to myself, I'm supporting this guy. All the while I had been saying, America is not yet ready to elect a black man, a man of color, a person of color. I've always said that. And just like, I actually thought a woman stood a better chance. Well, I guess it has to be a special woman, like Obama was a special person. And I'm not an Obama worshiper. I'm just saying he had the characteristics and the narrative that everybody bought. Even those, I was here in Kingwood, a very red area where I went to a whole lot of house parties held by Republicans supporting Obama in Texas. So the narrative. Obama had the narrative, something that we continue to not have, those in the Democratic Party, a narrative that sells, a narrative that doesn't seem to be plutocratic. Now, I must deviate from my blog a bit and say, I do think, however, now President Obama has placed too much of his ethos within the plutocracy. And he's not, while he still does good, I do not consider him one of us in the real struggle anymore. He can be helpful to the struggle. He can be helpful to the movement. But I consider him more an establishment character who, and something that I've talked to people a whole lot about, where I say we have to remember there's a president and then there's a presidency. Now he has become the presidency acceptably. Now, resigning ourselves to the belief that there is a large racist component within the Trump voting bloc, and this therefore makes them unreachable, denies a reality that President Obama disproved twice. Even racists will vote their interest if the narrative is right. It is my humble belief that our impatience, our timid narrative, our proclivity to stay high-minded in all circumstances, and our inability to frame and tailor a narrative at the level of those we need to reach have been the cause of our demise. And demise is what we've had. Demise is what we've had. Our young and upcoming politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Andrew Gillum, as well as activists like Indivisible Houston's, and these are two people I love dearly because these are the kind of folks I like seeing on the ground. Daniel Cohen, who's the president of Indivisible Houston, and Nisha Randall, who's the community director of Indivisible Houston, or I don't know if she quite still have that title. She's, or unabashedly promoting progressive narratives. They're out there fighting. You watch their Facebook feeds. You see them giving instructions. You see them hitting the millennials. You see them hitting the folks that need to be hit to go out there and do what needs to be done. That is what we need, the strong narrative and people going out there and doing things. Much of it will fly in the faces. Much of it will fly in the faces of those who are pinning their hopes on the mythical political center. There's no damn mythical, no real political center anymore, folk. And there was never one, right? Because what has always happened is the right has constantly pulled everything rightward, and timid Democrats simply follow on to the right and try to just put. It is like somebody's pulling at 10 miles an hour, and the Democrats just hold a string to slow them down to 9.9 miles an hour. That's what we have. That's what we have to get away from. That is where I talk about we have to be bold. Now, much of it will fly in the faces of those who are pinning their hopes on the mythical political center, but only when we redefine the narrative devoid of our past indoctrination will we get the vote. We have to change the paradigm. We have to change the way we talk. We have to change the things we support. We have to change things to the way they need to be and not the way the plutocracy is going to allow us to have it. One of the reasons, and you'd hear a lot of people talk about this, is that Democrats and Republicans pull from the same pool of money. Well, what we have in somebody like Beto O'Rourke is after making a misstep, he decided, okay, I am definitely not taking any money from all the big companies and all of that. And what happened? He got a flood of support from the grassroots. So he's a grassroots contender, and he campaigns as a grassroots contender in a car. And Texas is a huge place, and he's been to all 254 counties in Texas, something I don't even know if Ted Cruz went to half of them. This guy, if folks go out there and vote, is going to win. And this is being duplicated throughout the entire country from progressives. Progressives are out there beating Swing Left, PSR, Indivisible. All these groups are out there hitting the pavement. I'm supposed to be going block walking, but, there's so many other things that, everybody has their cutout that they have to do. So I hope my Indivisible people forgive me for the times that I haven't gone out there to block walk, because there's this and the books and all these other things that we got to get done. But folks, we have to get the narrative right. This will bring about real change. It is not enough to complain that Trump voters are racist. That's bull. You got to get off of that. After all, we have our own racists among us. We are not looking for friends and lovers, but we should be attempting to coalesce on common values that will get our people elected. After all, above and beyond economic issues, aren't our people, if elected, already supporting racial, criminal, and social justice? If that's the case, what we need to be doing is building allies to help us elect those who we know are going to pass the policies that we support. So we find the commonalities. After we find those commonalities, we go out there and make the alliances necessary to win. One of the things that I tell all of my Trumpers when I'm out there talking to them is I say, look, there's a lot of peer pressure out there. There's a whole lot of peer pressure out there. In other words, I sit down and I'll speak to some Trumpers and they'll be in full agreement with me, but I know the next time I see them walk into Starbucks or whatever with some friends and they see me sitting there, I'm always there. You can see the fear in some of their eyes thinking, oh my God, please, Egberto, don't come out here and let folks know that, you and I were in agreement on these things or we talk. I know that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. My goal is, I tell folks one thing. I'm going to talk to folks. My goal is to tell folks one thing. When you go into that voting booth, it is between you, your ballot, and your God. You can go in there and do whatever you want. Vote your interest when you go into the ballot. If you have to tell your friends, yeah, I supported the Republican ticket, but you really supported people that you know are going to be better for you, only you know that. And what I'm telling people to do is go in there and vote your interest. Vote your interest. Telephone number 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Let me check what you guys are saying first before I go into that thing that I wanted to mention about how these folks are playing these different cards. Let's see. All right. Vámonos. Vamos a ver qué están diciendo mi gente. Let's see. Oh, it seems like I got to click on that one because somehow you went away, and here you go. All right. Michael Rudnin. Okay, Michael Rudnin says 4 women have now come forward. Brett Kavanaugh is done. We'll see. Because, look, Republicans know one thing, right? They know that they are liable to lose everything, the Senate and the House. Losing the Senate means they will not get another Supreme Court justice under Donald Trump because Mitch McConnell has already set the precedents. The Supreme Court can operate with less people than it needs to operate. So the precedent has been set. If the Democrats get the Senate, if they have any pelotas, if they have any, you know what I'm going to say, a Supreme Court justice was stolen from the progressives. As such, if they get the Senate, no senator, no Supreme Court justice should be approved. Period. Punto final. None until a Democrat is elected into office, likely in 2020. So they know that that's a distinct possibility, and they know that they've set the narrative. And in so doing, they need to get Kavanaugh on. So my brother, unless it comes out that Kavanaugh really raped somebody recently, he's going to be the next Supreme Court justice. And that will further cause losses, I think, in the Senate, but they would have already gotten their man. The only good thing about it is if we get a landslide, a real tsunami, not a wave, the Democrats promise, and for what it's worth, they promise to continue the investigation. And if it's proven that he's really bad, they can impeach him. Anyhow, and that's just taking it one more level. Vicente, hi, guys. Let's see. LOL, the background is interesting. I wonder what the huge blank card said before Egberto photoshopped it out. I didn't Photoshop it. That is actually a canned thing. Probably something like socialism works or Trump is a fascist. But surely Egberto would agree. So may it said something like abortion murder. You have a vivid imagination. No, it was that blank thing that you see right there. Infrastructure investment from Rudnin. Federal jobs guaranteed, living wages, absolutely. Daniel Radeau, zero evidence. No, there's a lot of evidence to that. And not only that, you just have to understand how an economy works to know that that's true. Let's see what else we got. We got Daniel Radeau saying, everything that is necessary, is there a line you won't cross to get your way? I don't know what you mean by that. All right, let's continue with something that makes sense here. Such broken priorities, federal health officials are reshuffling. Yeah, they're reshuffling $500 million to lock more kids up. That's exactly what's happening. Michael Cisak says, what about liable? When women make a claim and everybody who they say was there says the opposite. I think you should be politically savvy to understand what that really means. None of them are on. You got to put them under oath and see if all of them are going to come up with the same story, knowing that there's a possibility that somebody is going to be able to prove them they're lying, and then they, So look, that makes no sense right there. Mel Glover, welcome aboard. Want to make a change? Push for a ownership economy. You may want to explain to me the ownership economy. I mean, ownership economy depends. I think owning houses, cars, all of that is a good thing. When it comes to land, we have to talk about that. Michael Garland, Merrick Garland was Obama Supreme Court. Thank you for reminding me, my brother. Okay, let's see. Matthew Tiemann says, this viral thread. Okay, I got that one. All right, let's continue. Ledo, I wonder if making sexual assault claims without evidence from over 30 years ago is what you mean by going high. No. Bruce Villard, peace. Hello, my brother Bruce. Okay, continue. Isn't it racist to group people by racist to group people by race and then claim some race groups are not as capable as others via victimhood? I don't quite follow. Anybody who follows my show know I call race what it is, a social construct. But since I live in the United States or in the world that actually thinks that race has some values, meaning that pigmentation and hue has some values, to make that change, we have to start from where people are. If you listen to what I say, how you approach people, you don't approach people with the high-minded statement. The high-minded statement is race is really just a social construct, nothing more. It means nothing. Pigmentation means very little in everything, little, nothing. However, what we have to come to the conclusion is I can't just tell people that. I have to go relate to them. So no. Watch the donut hole return when the budget is passed. I know, Bruce, and I hope more people will talk about that. Daniel Ledo, Trump won because Americans of all colors are done with PC culture. Wrong. Let's remember, more people voted for Hillary Clinton. He won the Electoral College, nothing more. It's a dysfunction within the Constitution. It's a disease within the Constitution. It is a mal-designed constitution that means the will of the people are not fulfilled. The wills of the people are not fulfilled. Okay? So let's first get that straight. She won by 3%. She won 3% of the vote over him. 3 million votes. Let's not talk about, Trump won. He didn't win. He won the Electoral College. He didn't win the American population. More Americans wanted Hillary than wanted Trump, period. Continuing, my dear brothers and sisters. CSAC, Egberto, here's a clue. Many of the union white folk who normally vote Democrat were and are tired of the identity politics. That's not true at all. The white voting union workers are no different than the average white person in the country. The same proclivities that afflict them, no matter where you are, whether you're union, whether you're Baptist, whether you're Catholic, whether you're liberal, whether you're progressive. America has a racist problem. And there's a certain percentage of the population that are very racist, another percentage that are moderately racist, and then some that are pretty darn cool. And that goes across all regions, all whatever. And that's what I try to preach. That's why I don't prejudge the Trumpists, even the racist ones that are my friends. Daniel Ledo, think it might be you. The victim mentality tends to see a boogeyman everywhere. Oh, really? Wow, you're so funny. I was on a board of directors of 4 years. I had to resign because of the racism. They did not even think that they were. That's generally the case. I don't even look at them and tell folks that they're racist anymore. I just go, if I'm in a board or whatever, I would look and say, why is it that you took that particular item over the item that I suggested? What made that more valid than mine, even though I did more research or more whatever to get it across? And I would, like I said, I go to where they are because genuinely, my brother Bob Campbell, they generally many times don't realize it. Just like at times I didn't realize how sexist I was. It's no longer so, but they do. Anyway, any fascist friends? Okay, I'm not going to answer that. Daniel Ledo. Going back, Mike Cisak, and yet Antifa is doing all the same things the Hitler groups did. I know that's what your media tells you. Your media, the media that you use to get this information is at best fallible. Mike says, if Medicare was more efficient, why is it over tenfold more expensive than predicted? Doesn't government dictate prices through Medicare? Where do you get your information, sir? CSEC. When you make statements like that, it diminishes. I know you're an intelligent person. I've spoken to you. But it diminishes you when you make a silly statement like that. The overhead for Medicare is 3%, period. And then we have to remember that healthcare in this country is still delivered by the private sector. So what you say makes absolutely no sense, my dear brother. Mike Cisak, Michael, so you're okay with that? Okay, okay, let me see what else is worth mentioning here. Danilo, no. Boy, you guys are active today. I didn't even get to my soliloquy. Lupe Grimaldo, I am in California and I donated. Thank you, my brother. Go blue, go blue, go blue. Michael Rudnin, as it comes to racism, there's a clear partisan distinction between liberals, progressives, and conservatives. There's an article I hope you read. It's called The Republican Party is Existentially Racist. Yes, but I want to go deeper than that. Remember how I defined it, Rudnin. What I said is there are different interpretations of racism, right? In other words, the liberals do it in a very high-minded manner. And I can tell you from experience, from all the conferences that I go to and that sort of a thing, it's all in a high-minded manner, but it's racism nonetheless. So, I mean, it is important that we see those things. Okay, let's see if I have any more. Egberto union members are no different from the rest of our nation. No, union members are one of the largest groups who have wised up that Trump promises were lies. Yeah, but there are quite a few unions that actually went ahead and supported Donald Trump. Michael, if we were saying that blacks were not as capable as getting an ID to vote, would such a statement make... I don't know if that one is worth a mention. Let's see. Anyhow, we're coming close to the end of the program, which means I have to do my quick ask very quickly. Anyhow, folks, please remember this is a progressive show that needs your support. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Again, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. I'd like to also let you know that I am writing this book. The book is titled How to Make America Utopia. And I'm almost done with the introduction. Then everybody who signs up at go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is one of the offers that you can sign up for. You sign up for that baby. That you'll sometime this week you'll have the introduction of the book. We already have the table of contents online. The introduction, of course, the table of contents is going to change given that I changed introduction, etc., etc., etc. But the book is going to be presented to you guys a chapter at a time. And those of you who are subscribers to this show, every time a new chapter is released, you will get it. So please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. I'm also concentrating on considering another gimmick for my good old supporters and contributors is there's this product called Zoom. I'm thinking about every couple of weeks or a month or so to bring you in through cameras, video cameras, and we sit down and shoot the bull about things that we should cover and bring some of you on, or that, you know, we're trying to make Politics Done Right a bit more interactive before we launch the other shows, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what we need, however, right now is support. We need several thousand supporters, and we are far away from that. So please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. You can get a low subscription so that you can get to see the book before it's released, chapter by chapter as I write them, or you can go ahead and get a higher subscription level so that you can get everything. So please go ahead and consider going to patreon.com, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. I guarantee you, folks, we're going to get this stuff done. We're going to get this stuff done, but we need your support. The other side have Coke. We have you. We only have you. I tell you, I don't ask you to do what I don't do. I'm a supporter of a whole lot of the progressive shows. DailyCoast.com, DemocraticUnderground.com, CoffeePartyUSA.com, OpEdNews.com. I'm also a supporter of course, my political party, a whole lot. So we all have to do this together. We have to do it in the grassroots level to make sure that we get things done. But, we're at the end of the show right now. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I'm going to close this, baby. I am, what am I? I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.